Welcome to Time Savers Shorts. You've got just enough time to sit back, neck a cup of tea and enjoy these tips, brought to you by Joe Parry from Windermere St Anne's School.
How much of your time do you spend in meetings, and how much of that time do you think is wasted? Well, if you're sitting there and you're someone who chairs or minutes meetings, here's some advice on saving time and making your meetings far more effective. Firstly, when you write up a meeting, don't give people a dialogue of what went backwards and forwards in the meeting. It just isn't very useful. Instead, why not try using an action point format? This is where you put the agenda item in, the action agreed, the person responsible for it, important, and the date by which you'd like that to be achieved. Circulate those action points within 24 hours and give everybody 24 hours to read them and decide if they're a true reflection. If they haven't got back to you within 24 hours, they're in stone and people are responsible for the actions on the piece of paper. At the beginning of your next meeting, you must start it by going carefully through the action points and finding out where everybody's up to. Have they done their jobs? Have they done what they said they were going to do? This approach will make you look more professional. People will be far more likely to affect the actions from the meeting, and you as a team will be far more successful.
In my experience, meetings never start on time and it can be really infuriating. So, to save yourself some extra time, take some work along with you to do before it starts.
Now, Deb's meetings. As a senior manager, I know that you both attend a lot of meetings, but you also chair a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
What's your advice on how a meeting should run to make it effective?
Stick to your agenda. I think I've been in many meetings where we've wasted a lot of time getting off the point,
Yes.
talking about different things, and so stick to that. Have a time limit set, I would say, at the beginning of your meeting. Make sure you've got somewhere to go to, or you say at the beginning of the meeting, I've got, or we're all teaching at this time, we must be finished.
What about that person who takes you off the point? Do you struggle dealing with them?
I would say probably usually we need to, if you want to discuss that, we'll have to discuss that at a later date.
I think they can be real time sappers, can't they, if they take you off. And you lose
Absolutely.
the attention of the other people in the meeting. And I think if you're chairing, you've got to be really strict and move through quite nice and quickly. They're those planned meetings, and we have those all the time. But what about when somebody asks you for a meeting, passing you in the corridor and all of that?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
I always think it's useful to say, right, I've got 20 minutes then, and like you were saying about the bigger meetings, have something else to go to. And I think it focuses the mind. Sometimes people just come into your office and have a bit of a chat.
That's the
don't
hardest
they?
thing and that happens to me a lot, where they come to your office and it's much more difficult to say now's not a good time.
Yes.
When you're in there, whereas at least in the corridor you can say, right, okay, I've got this 15-minute window at 1 o'clock, you can come then.
Yeah. But I don't think there should be a guilt feeling about it. I think we're very loathed at times to say, no, I can't see you then. But I don't think there should be guilt. I think it should be, no, I'm doing this at the moment, but if you want to come back at a different time, and then you're directing the conversation and you're deciding how long it's going to be. I recently have found it's much easier if you have a meeting in their office, then you dictate when you're leaving the meeting. So you can say, right, I need to go now, and then you're walking out. Because I think when they're in your office, that's very difficult. You don't want to shove somebody out the door, do you?
No, you don't. Although standing up...
Yeah, I was just about to say.
It's a good one. Even if you're in your office, stand up and, OK, I've got to go to another meeting now, or I've got to go to a lesson now, and we're going to have to bring this to a close.
An old boss of mine you knew when the meeting was over because he went back to his emails and started concentrating on his emails rather than you. That gave you the message that it had finished. I think meetings are very useful, however, if they're sapping time and not taking the school forward, then it needs to be looked at.
Absolutely.
Debs, thanks for your tips on that.
Pleasure.